All right, good evening, everyone. I'm King 5 Meteorologist Adam Claibon. We made it to the end of the work week, and there's rain that's been out there. It's generally been pretty light stuff. We got a heavier round that's on the way for the weekend, and I did just want to go ahead and put this out front. Yes, we know that it rains during this time of the year. Big whoop, right? But we are going to see a heavier batch of rain. It's going to be some steady stuff, too, as we head into the day for tomorrow. We're going to have multiple rounds over these next few days, but it's tomorrow and tomorrow night that we're going to keep an eye out for some of the heaviest rain to come through. So we do have first alert that's going to be in effect here starting about noon tomorrow, lasting until 7 a.m. heading into Sunday because of that, and the potential for some flooding to come along with that with some of the higher snow levels that we're expecting, and some gusty winds that are going to be out there too. So let's talk about all this. What's happening? We got this big long fetch of clouds again. We showed you this back on Thursday. Still out there here for Friday of moisture that's extending all the way back closer to the Pacific Islands, around areas closer to Asia. And all of this is going to be heading right our way, but it's this batch right here that you see. The big plume right on the northern edge of that's going to be responsible for some of the heaviest rain that we're going to have here heading into the upcoming weekend. As far as rainfall totals today, a lot of that's been really light stuff, around 1/10 of an inch, if not less in most locations, up to around 1/4 in Bellingham, up to 1/3 of an inch. So our northern locations getting in on the majority of the rain here for Friday, and still a little more to come on into the night. So back again to this, yes, first alert mode starting up tomorrow afternoon through Sunday morning. And at that time, we're going to keep an eye out for some really heavy rain to come down, and we're going to see that some of those river levels are going to start to creep up a little bit. We'll see more of that heading into Sunday and Monday as we can continue to see more of that water flow down from the higher terrain. We're also going to have those gusty winds and some isolated flooding to go along with that, and that's going to include all of us here in western Washington. Keep an eye out for some of that urban flooding as well. Now, another thing too to consider, since we are heading into the weekend, a lot of us are going to be out trying to enjoy our weekend, and with all this rain around, it's going to be throwing a wrench in some plans. More of a nuisance more than anything else, but definitely going to play a factor here if you're heading out to the Sounders match this coming Saturday at 7:30 p.m. Lumen Field is going to be all soaked with rain. Going to be breezy out there too. Temperatures will be in the 50s, so prepare for that. All right, let's take a look at the 7-day forecast because we do have a wet first half. Second half is looking to be pretty nice by next Wednesday through Friday, but here we are into Saturday. Temperatures in the mid-50s. First alert mode here because of that. And by the time we head into tomorrow afternoon, what you're seeing right there out on Stevens Pass, not going to be the case tomorrow evening, as we're going to have all of that melted on the highway and the roads. Now, of course, we're still going to have some of that across some of the streets, the sidewalks. You might even notice some of that across some of the mountains there, but it's expected to begin to lower some of the snowpack that we have with this warmer air that's going to be coming on in. So looking at that here as we go from there to La Push, where we've had a lot more rain here throughout the day. It's been a lot more soggy, plus it's been a little more windy there. That's why you have some of those waves crashing onto the coast. And looking live at our Everett camera, where skies were a little brighter here this evening, as we did have less of the rain up that way than what we've been noticing down here around Seattle, where we are currently sitting in the mid-40s, and this is as of about 6:30 here into your Friday evening. We do expect to see some of that wind, though, pick up just a bit more later on into this evening. So temperatures, I wanted to show you this, mid to upper 40s, even some low 50s out there. Nothing out of the ordinary with that. But what I did want to point out is what's happening already across the mountains here. You can see across our passes, we're already above freezing. Stevens Pass, 33, 35 is Snoqualmie Pass, 33 right now at White Pass, so that will mean we'll get some mixing here into the night. Eventually that's going to switch over to all rain as we go deeper on into tonight and into the day for tomorrow. So looking at the forecast for the weekend, we're going to call for highs basically in the mid-50s both the days. We'll have lows in the 40s and increasing rain. Again, the heaviest rain expected on Saturday night, and then we'll see a little less rain and a little less wind heading on into Sunday. Here's radar. We do have some of those heavier showers moving off towards the east right now, and it looks like right overhead there over the Kitsap Peninsula, right there closer to Bremerton. See some of those yellows popping up? And that's a moderate to heavier rainfall here into this evening. But that's going to be the one and only wave that we're going to have here for the night. and then that's going to move on out of here. That system heads off to the east. Again, the one coming in right behind that, that's really going to be the big rain producer, is right there with a lot of those bright clouds heading our way here across the Pacific Northwest. All right, so let's talk about what's happening rain-wise and what we expect to see with that, because we do have advisories out here across the area. Going to be some stronger winds and some higher waters too that could be possible. So flood watch is out for the areas that you see shaded in the green that start up at 10 a.m. on Sunday, last until 4 a.m. heading into Wednesday morning, very early Wednesday morning. Why the long period, you ask? Well, we still have a lot of time for a lot of that water to continue to flow down from some of the mountains there, from the Olympics and from the Cascades. And we're expecting some of the heaviest rain in those locations too. So that's going to make its way into those streams, those creeks, those rivers, and start to increase some of those water levels. We're going to talk about a couple of specific spots here coming up in a bit. But you also see the brown area right there, light tan shaded area across the coast. That's where we have those wind advisories. Some of those gusts could get up closer to about 40, maybe 45 miles per hour, even closer to 50 in some spots there. So again, just wanted to point out a couple of spots. The Skokomish River near Potlatch, that's going to be around Mason County, and also the Snoqualmie River around Carnation, because of these snow levels getting up above 6,000 feet, which is going to lead to some of these areas seeing an increased inflow of water from the higher terrain. We're going to keep an eye out for maybe some moderate flooding. Looks like National Weather Service kind of lending towards things becoming a bit higher and a higher chance of seeing some of that flooding in those two locations in particular. Elsewhere, just something to keep in mind as we get into this event. But here we are into the night and early into the day for tomorrow. Showers coming on through, more off and on shower activity as we head on into the start of Saturday. But then once we head into Saturday afternoon, again, this is when we start to go into first alert mode. This is when we have some of the moderate to heavier rain that's going to start to work its way overhead. Now this is 2:30. You can see a lot more yellows, reds, and oranges popping up, indicating the heavier rainfall that's working its way through. That's going to sweep on by, and I think we'll see that first wave from about noon until about 5 to 6 in the evening. Then we're going to see things let up a little bit here and then pick back up yet again by about 9 to 10 o'clock Saturday night with the second wave that's going to come on through. Timing, of course, is going to be a little bit up in the air as far as the exact moments, but we do expect that to be a general theme, and that could maybe help those of us heading out to that Sounders match to get a little bit of a break while the match is going, before maybe heading home we're having to deal with a lot of this rain that's going to be coming on down. So that's going to be overnight, Saturday into early Sunday, and then you can see a lot of that's beginning to move on out of here. And as we go throughout the course of Sunday, some off and on showers. It looks like the earlier half of the day not quite as wet as what we're expecting towards the second half of the day, mid to late afternoon and heading into the evening. And a lot of that will be from Seattle northward, which will eventually start to taper off by about 9 or 10 o'clock that night. Snow levels starting to come back down too, so we're going to start to pile up a bit more snow, especially up that way around Mount Baker. And check this out, more rain to come right behind that with another system into the day on Monday. So let's talk rain totals here. We're going to see anywhere between 1 to 3 inches. That's been fairly consistent here on the models. Higher amounts over the Olympic Peninsula, where I think we could get closer to that 2 to 3 inch range. Here closer to South Sound, maybe closer again to 2, maybe 2.5 inches. And then rain shadowed areas as you go up towards Port Townsend. Areas here closer to more Bellingham. I would say Friday Harbor 2 and Everett. You can see those amounts looking to be near, maybe below an inch in some of those spots. So Squim, you're going to be in this range too. Discovery Bay, around those spots. Keep an eye out for some lighter rain totals because of that. It won't be quite as high for you, but generally we're talking about amounts between about 1 to 3 inches. And check out what's happening into the mountains too, as we are seeing those amounts getting closer to about 2 to maybe even 5 inches of just pure liquid coming down, due in part because we squeeze out a lot more moisture when those showers come through and head their way up into the higher terrain and makes its way over those mountain areas. So let's talk about what's happening at the Snoqualmie River again. I wanted to point this out because this is where we could see some of those snow levels, or those, river levels get a bit higher and up near moderate stage. And it's happening a little bit later. So here we are heading into the latter part of the 23rd and more so into the 24th. So that will be after the heaviest rain is gone. And again, what's going on there is that you are seeing a lot of that water beginning to work its way down from the mountains and into the river itself. So looks like we're up around moderate stage, heading on into the middle part of the day on Monday. We should start to see it crest and then start to come back down afterwards as we head later on into next week, and things will start to dry out at that point too. So we'll start to be doing okay at that point. And snowfall totals overall with this looking to be really light stuff because, well, we just don't have enough cold air to produce a lot of it unless you're up there around Baker, where we are expected to see from now until Monday morning at 11 o'clock, maybe up closer to about 2 feet of snow. I think we're going to see some mixing, so it might be closer to 1.5 feet, but either way, we'll be one of the winners during these next few days as opposed to what you're going to see in some of the areas farther south, as well as what we're expecting into some of the lower elevated areas too. And the winds, well, those pick up. Did mention that we do have advisories starting up at 10 a.m. tomorrow until 7 p.m. Heading into tomorrow evening. And that's going to be because of these stronger winds that we're expecting out towards the coast. You see a lot more of that purple showing up over that way. And for areas, I would say probably north of Everett too. Camino and Whidbey Island up across the San Juan Islands, seeing some of those gusts up closer to 40, 45 miles per hour. The rest of us at times maybe getting as high as 35, maybe 40 miles per hour, but generally we're going to keep things on the lighter end. That starts to die off as we head on into the first part of the night on Saturday, and then we're going to see just another push of some of that wind again as we head into that event heading on to Sunday, where it might be a bit more widespread, maybe not quite as strong as we're expecting wind gusts between about 20 to 30, maybe 35 miles per hour. All right, your forecast heading into tonight will drop down between more of those low to mid 40s, maybe some of us even holding on to the low 50s with the stronger south winds beginning to come on in and helping to warm us up into the mid 50s by tomorrow afternoon. That comes along with a good amount of rain, though, especially into the mid and latter part of the day, and then things should start to dry out a little more heading on into Sunday. Not a complete washout there or either into your Monday, drying out even more so heading into Tuesday, and then we have those nicer days next Wednesday, Thursday, and heading on into next Friday. But did want to stress again, if you're going to be closer, if you live closer to areas near those bodies of water, those streams, those creeks, and those rivers, we could see some water levels rise again here as we head on into the upcoming weekend and into the first part of the next work week, due in part because of some of the heavier rain and the warmer air leading to the higher snow levels and some of the snow melt that we're going to have off of the mountains there. So be careful of that, keep an eye out for that, and also make sure that you are ready for the rain as if you're going to be heading out at any point here over the weekend or either over the next few days. Take care, everyone. Have a wonderful weekend, and we'll talk to you soon.